Howdy, Immortalium here, and welcome to another MVM review. This time I'm reviewing Bunny Drop, also known as Usagi Drop. I've actually read the first 4 volumes of the manga of the series, and since reading it, I've been very much looking forward to checking out the anime at some point. Problem was that this was licensed in North America by NIS America, which they aren't exactly a very big anime distributor, and so I didn't think that, any UK companies would actually license anything for them, particularly since they also, kind of focus on more niche anime series. But MVM did it. The MVM actually did license Usagi Drop, and I'm so happy that I'm finally able to get watch the series and check it out. So, that's enough about me rambling. What is the story about? We're introduced to our lead character, Daikichi, and Daikichi is about 30 years old. He has a kind of a desk job, and he's just kind of been living life, drinking, etc., etc. And one day he finds out that his grandfather died, his maternal grandfather to be more specific. He heads over to the funeral, and there he sees a young girl, about a 6-year-old. And he's wondering to himself, whose daughter is that? So he goes and asks his mom, who is that girl? And the mother tells him that the girl is the love child of his grandfather. Which of course, shocks Daikichi. He's kind of takes a bit of a shock that his grandfather still had it in him, more like that. But he is a bit shocked, particularly since that means that she's his aunt. So he finds that very surprising. After the funeral, the family sits down and they start, discussing who should take care of Rin. Rin's the girl's name. And in the end, they're kind of talking about, sending her to an institution, since none of the family members seem to be able to take care of her. This upsets Daikichi. So Daikichi actually makes it his responsibility. He says that he will actually take Rin home and take care of her and raise her. And that's, how the story begins. So, overall, the story actually follows the manga relatively closely. All of the events in the series pretty much are, bat for bat for what happened in the manga. There's a couple of changes here and there, like the order of the, events, etc., etc. But overall, it's a pretty loyal adaptation. And that means that quite often in each episode, it's kind of about a different aspect of parenthood. Like, for example, one of the first things Daikichi has to do is actually request a demotion in his job so that he can have a few more hours, so that he can actually, take Rin to and from the daycare center and elementary school. And beyond that, there's a lot of other events that happen, like, for example, finding that she's wet in the bed and, how to be able to resolve that issue, when she gets the fever, etc., etc. And, overall, it's a very interesting from that regard. What's also interesting is that there are actually several ongoing story elements. Like, for example, a kind of a big question for a while in the series is, who is Rin's mom? And, why did she, quote-unquote, abandon her? Since the mother wasn't there for the funeral. There's several aspects of that like that. And these elements are very engaging as well. Strong drama, strong emotion, etc., etc. The mother figure is actually quite a contrast to Daikichi, and they actually work relatively well off of each other. Kind of contrasting, various aspects of parenthood, and what you must do in order to be a parent. The one aspect of the story that I'm not that keen on is the ending. Now, I guess that's to be expected. This series is only 11 episodes long, and actually, interestingly, it ends at the point that I'm at in the manga. It ends near the end of Volume 4. Now, there's 10 volumes in total, but I've heard that apparently the later part of this series, the later part of the manga, is a bit strange, particularly when Rin gets to, teenagehood. And so actually, lots of people were actually happy that the anime didn't adapt those parts, that it just stayed with, the first, part of the series which people consider to be the best. But even so, I think the series could have been a bit more conclusive, a bit more of a satisfying ending, etc., etc. But overall, the story itself is excellent. It's lots of strong drama, lots of, very emotional moments. Characters-wise, our 2 lead characters are Daikichi and Rin. Now, Daikichi himself is a very engaging lead character. He has no idea at the beginning of how to be, a parent. There's actually a lot of situations like he doesn't even think about them coming up. They just kind of start happening, and he has to kind of respond to it. But he's willing to actually, make some sacrifices in order to take care of Rin, to try to raise her as properly as he can, and to be able to understand her. There's sometimes when he misunderstands something, about her, and and causes some, kind of an awkward situation, which of course is very sad, and it's a bit awkward at those points for him. But he's willing to, get through it and actually, become a proper father figure for her. So overall he's a very engaging and strong lead character. Rin, though, Rin is the star, though. Rin is only about 6 years old, and yet she's already got a kind of a very mature outlook on life. I've heard some people argue that she has a bit of a, too mature outlook on life. But I think considering how weird her, family situation was, the fact that she was being raised by her her father, which was Daikichi's grandfather, who was like over 70 and all that. Of course, she's got to have quite a different outlook on life than a lot of the other children. But she's a very, very interesting and strong character. Not annoying at all, as some 6-year-olds are want to be in TV series or films or any medium. Her actions always seem to have a kind of a proper logic behind them. And there's some moments where she's, like, particularly near the beginning, where she's not that communicative. She does something and it seems kind of disrespectful and rude, but it actually turns out to be something really, really sweet and, emotional. So she's a very strong character as well. We're introduced to a variety of other characters, other, parents of children, other children who Rin interacts with, other co-workers of Daikichi, etc., etc. And they are all, engaging characters as well, but the real stars here are Daikichi and Rin. Animation-wise, this series is very interesting now. This was actually animated by Production IG, as in the company that did Ghost in the Shell, Eden of the East, Blood the Last Vampire, as well as, Blood C and Blood Plus, etc., etc. So a bit of a contrast, animating this series. But they've really captured the look of Bunny Drop. In the cold opening, which is, the section of the episode before the actual opening, it actually has a very watercolor look, which is very loyal to the color sections in the manga. Which are absolutely superb to look at. They're actually kind of reminiscent of My Neighbors the Yamadas, which is the Ghibli film, and the Princess Kaguya, one of the newer Ghibli films. And it looks absolutely sumptuous. I kind of wish that the whole series was animated like that, but once it's gotten past the opening, it becomes a bit more kind of normal anime looking. Even so, the character designs are absolutely fantastic, as they were in the actual manga itself. The actual animation itself is very fluid, clean. There's no awkward quality assurance moments or jerky movements or anything. It's not particularly, amazing or exceptional, the animation, but it's very, very nice. And the artwork is really what you're looking at this series for in terms, animation, because it absolutely looks sumptuous. Strong colors, beautiful backgrounds, and, as I said, strong character design. So from an animation perspective, it's a great one. Now, there is no English dub, I better point this out. There is only the Japanese performances, and they are all, very strong. In particular, I must give props to the voice actress who did Rin, who, she has to kind of limit herself a bit in, the way that she talks, due to the fact that, she's playing a 6-year-old character, but even so, she's able to bring a strong sense of emotion and maturity to this, little character, which is great. The man who voiced Daikichi as well as, an excellent performance as well. The real props here, though, is the subtitling, which I think was done by Siren Visual, over in Australia, because not only do they subtitle, the characters themselves excellently, they subtitle background chatter every so often, which is actually put at the top of the screen. So it's a bit odd, I guess, just kind of, you have to flick your eyes up and down the screen, which some people might find tiresome. Personally, though, I very much enjoyed actually being able to understand what some people speaking in the backgrounds, other than the main characters, were actually saying. And there's some notes. Like, I was really pleased when, like, for example, they mentioned Oban. And as soon as they mentioned Oban, a translation note appeared up at the top of the screen, just simply explaining, you know, that it was a holiday that, you know, a Japanese holiday that, you know, you pay your respects to the dead, etc., etc. And, you know, there's several moments like that just to explain, and I was really, really happy to see them. Because there are, you know, as this is a slice of life series, there are going to be moments where some people who aren't Japanese are going to be a bit confused about some of their customs. You know, but from overall, though, the subtitling in the series is excellent. You know, you could not be looking for a better, you know, subtitle track, I'd say. And finally, the soundtrack. The soundtrack itself is a very interesting one in that it's not an exceptional, particularly if you were to hear it, you know, separate from the series, but combined with the series, it perfectly, you know, brings up, you know, the emotions and, you know, resonates really well with the actions that happens on screen. Overall, like, the soundtrack is great for the series. Separately, though, it's kind of, you know, a bit meh, but it works really well for the series itself. And the opening and ending are really nice. Like, those bits definitely work separately from the series. They're cute, they're very interesting from an animation perspective, and, you know, they're very engaging songs. And finally, I guess I bet just, you know, address what kind of extras MVM has put onto these discs, which isn't too much, but it is very nice. Basically, first of all, you get these kind of mini episodes, which basically, they're about 5 minutes each, there's 4 of them, so that's essentially an extra episode. And they're kind of just dealing with, you know, different aspects of, you know, the life that Takeshi leads with Rin. Bits that, you know, maybe are a bit too short for actual, you know, TV episodes themselves, but work very well as kind of mini episodes. These situations are, for example, you know, cherry blossom viewing, or maybe like Santa Claus, you know, on Christmas. But, you know, I'm very happy to see that those are included. The animation in those are a little bit more basic than the actual episodes themselves, but that's to be expected. And besides that, you have your trailers and your various different versions of the opening and endings. What's interesting, though, is that each ending, even though it's the same song and many parts of it are the same, each ending is actually unique for each episode. So it is very nice that they actually have all 11 endings, you know, put together on one disc. So if you want to be able to see all the little differences between the endings, you can just line them up and just, you know, watch them through. So, you know, overall, you know, extras-wise, there isn't anything here that'll blow you away, but it is very nice, particularly to see that those mini episodes are actually included in the release. So, to conclude, of all the things I've had to review for MVM, I say that I enjoyed the series the most. And, you know, to people who absolutely love Toradora and Kokoro Connect and all that, you know, I'm sorry, but that's just my personal opinion. I am absolutely looking forward to getting my hands on the actual DVD copy of this series, and I would highly recommend that people do check it out as well. If you want to, you know, if you've heard what I've said and you're kind of unsure about it, you know, check out some other reviews, maybe get the first volume of the manga, just check it out, and if you like it, then, you know, order the complete series from MVM. As usual, I will include in the link in the description below links to various websites where you can order from, you know, or MVM's release of the series. So overall, I would definitely highly recommend this series. It is a great, great series that I highly loved. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye-bye.